Assalamu alaikum, good morning. We can start with prayers. Welcome to the General Council, 28th September 2023 at 11 a.m. The agenda is as follows: presentation and review of budget estimate. Agenda item number 2, submission of a comprehensive financial report from 1st January to 30th June 2023. Income and expenditure statements. This agenda, I would like to make an amendment. I think this is a motion from the Council of Ibo Town. So it should just say motion from the Council of Ibo Town, and that motion should have been circulated, and then he will present it, rather than the whole motion being written on the agenda. Agenda items are supposed to be brief, just to introduce the topic, but the contents of that topic should be presented by the document supported by that topic. Yes, Clerk.
Just wanted to make small clarification. The motion was presented in the past General Council, so this is the response that is coming now from the Finance Department.
Right, so you can just say it's still under the motion, so you can say reaction to the motion. Okay, but you cannot put an entire motion in an agenda. Like I said, agenda is just a one-line item, topic la. So the agenda is just a topic. All right. So let's make that amendment. Then the agenda item number 3 is handing over of duties and responsibilities of overseeing or acting officers. That is a motion presented by the Councillor of Talinding South in his capacity as Finance Committee Chair. And then AOB, this was brought forward by the Councillor of Old Joshua, and it was balance payment of former Councillor for Old Joshua. This was a motion brought by the Councillor of Old Joshua. Yes, Councillor of Old Joshua.
Yes, I think this agenda on the AOB should have been omitted.
Okay, you wrote that the agenda should be omitted.
Yes.
Okay, Clerk, the Councillor wants to withdraw his motion, so omit it on the AOB. Can someone move to pass the agenda as amended? We have Kololi seconded Fajikunda. All right, so Clerk, also the minutes of the previous meeting, please make sure, along with this one, they are drafted so we can take it up in the next council meeting. All right, we start with the agenda item number 1, presentation and review of 2024 budget estimate, to be led by Finance Committee Chair, supported by the Director of Finance, or vice versa. Okay.
Time a little bit. Okay, we are here to present the draft budget for 2024. Just like we are all aware of, every council shall have a right to obligate to formulate its budget and approve and execute its budget, provided that the budget is balanced. So like we all know, last time we presented the budget here, but still we have some challenges. And then I know before the end of the day, we will all try to see how best to balance the budget. And then the budget shall reflect the priorities based on our programs. The budget must reflect the priorities of the municipalities and so on. And then the council budget shall reflect all the revenue to be collected or received by its appropriate for each year. So our budget should reflect the entire revenue that we expect to collect for that particular period of a year. And then the budget shall take into account the 3-year development plan for each local government area. So that's why we normally go for participatory budgeting, Before election, I think some of you, us are aware of that. We went to the communities, and then council come with a priority plan, like a 3 or 4 year priority plan. That is the road projects. So we should commence it this year, but due to certain reason, we were unable to do it. So that's what they are talking about. And then the budget shall be prepared in a form of an estimate and expenditure. Examples, that is emolument and salaries of mayors and other staff of the councils. I think we all knows about that. The operation of the double DCs. All these things is specified in the Local Government Act. The grants and allowances to any ex-chief or any other holder of a traditional title. So here in the budget is where we paid the Alcalos Commission and so on. So list of the current asset of the KMC from 2018 to 2022. So these are the list. 2023 was not included because I don't have that asset register. So, but the list that I have, we have 30 vehicles, that is fleets, 51 laptops, 42 desktop, ACs we are 34, motorbikes we are 20, executive cares 90, junior executive desks are 100, and then filing cabins are 27, and dispensers are 2. So this was the record that I have from 2018 to 2022. So for that of the 2023 is not part of it. So all these ones we are budgeted. Before they were being procured, they were all in the budget. So this is the list of the items that I mentioned here. That is the motorbike, the ACs, and so on. They are all in the chart. So some of the challenges that we face for the past years, the 25% subvention is not forthcoming. And then the council revenues to some of some key revenue lines are eroded. If you think of the GT board, the GILMA, NRA, that is the car park fee, and so on. All these, and then they have been given to a particular areas that have been, or institutions that have been created by the government. And then the manual revenue collection and a lack of data also affect council's revenue. And then council need to establish a consortium unit that will help council to secure funding from EU and other international bodies, including lawyer sort of. For example, recently we see other area councils, they are getting a lot of funding from EU and other international bodies. But this consortium sort of, these are a group of experts that have the technical know-how or knowledge. They can write proposal so that council can get those funding. And in the current stage of the council, we have some of the staff, but we need to build their capacities. Otherwise, it will be difficult for us to get those funding. Example, if you go to certain municipalities, you will see a building that is costing about 75 million euro or 75 million dollars and so on. All those things are grant funding, where these people can get those funding. So I think KMC currently, we started having some projects, but even if you check this project, though our staffs were involved, but not to that extent. And then now, even if you have to implement this project, we have to hire outside. So I think we can do the scouting within ourselves. Yeah, we look at staff that have the technical know-how so that we can benefit from those funds. All council fleets should have a digital tracking system for better fleet management and then value for money. And then the other one is council should have a digital HR software to address some staff issues. Example, staff upgrading, retirement, and so on. Because anytime when we are preparing our budget, we have issues. For example, at times some staff will come, they say that 50 staff retired. But when we are preparing our budget, we don't have this information earlier. So after preparing the budget, after 3 or 4 months' time, you will show a list of staff about who are about to retire, about 50 or 100. So that thing also affects because we don't have a proper software that is tracking the number of staff that are about to retire. So every year, for example, if you start a job at the council here, you are in a particular grade, grade 7. So every year you should have points, pointing. So we realize that our system is not giving that information to the council. So that's why you will go to certain staff. They are in both in the same grade, but at the end of the day, one of them is earning more than the other one. So that is also affecting our revenue. Council should have a digital, that is the HR system, yes. So council is currently working on an asset management policy, which will be presented to the General Council here by October. And then council should also have an IT policy for the usage of gadgets of the council. For example, we realize that most of the council's items, like the laptops, desktops, and so on, maybe we realize that some staff have their personal information than council information in those systems. So with this IT software, so no staff will be able to bring any foreign materials to put it in council items. Because otherwise, it's the IT guy, he will come with a particular software or a system whereby he will put it in all the council gadgets, so that if anything that has to do with council, you cannot put it inside. So I thank you all, and then I would like to call on the finance team to help us to do the presentation of the budget. Mr. Njai, can you come? Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning, Lord Mayor, honorables, directors, CEO. We hereby present the draft 2024 budget, starting with the summary sheet, which give the synopsis, like the summary of the budget, which give history records, and then budget for 2023, actual up to August, and then the current budget for 2024. Looking at the summary, this is what we achieved in 2022 up to December, $253,624,457, and against a budget of $292 million, which was budgeted as an estimate. So this is the actual up to July 31st, $152,810,893. We have an estimate for 2024 as a revenue which have a slight increase to $301,634,800. So we go to the budget line by line. On top administrative budget revenue, we have $3 million total, which is budgeted $3,510,000. Under the markets, total revenue budgeted for the entire market, both revenue, we'll go to the detailed sheet. This is just the summary. The slides, last year was $52 million budgeted. This year we reduced it to $52,258,400. CAPA fees, which is collected by central government on behalf of councils, always we, yes.
No, so he has to present.
I have to present.
You note observations, and when he's done presenting, we can raise it.
Yeah, thank you. So, trade license, partial cost recovery, $10,500,000 is budgeted, the same as last year's budget. Trade license revenue, $96 million, at an increment of $6 million against 2023 budget. Services partial cost recovery, that's the valid revenue, $14 million was budgeted 2022. We have adjusted to $18 million for 2024. Rates and taxes, $103 million was budgeted 2022, increased to $112,366,150. The other grant subventions, $2 million from central government, should have been 25%. But to be prudent, this is what we usually receiving. We'll be receiving $2 million annually. So to be budgeting actually what you are not receiving will be overspent, over budgeting our expenditure, and that could have an impact on our developments. That means we may budget for something that we might not receive the actual revenue. So investment on income, 2 million is budgeted. That gives the total summary of total revenue, 301,634,800.
All right, we can break there.
Yeah.
Any observations on the revenue? Go back to the revenue summary, sorry. Yes, backward. Please talk into the speaker.
Presenting us the budget for 2024. For the revenue, what I observed here is almost all the revenue lines are below half of their collection for 2024, and we are in the 7th month of the year. And I can see increment in almost all the revenue lines. On what basis do you, act on to increase their revenue? Hence, they cannot even achieve the targeted revenue for 2024, not even half, most of them.
Director.
Thank you, Honorable. You are right. This year, there is a different obstacle along the line. If you look at this year, so many activities have passed along, like the election, councillors election, mayoral election, and that has, it's not a definite excuse, but it has a little bit disrupt most of the collections. We cannot say it's not fully 100% as an excuse, because the collectors were all on ground, but mostly the population also were on politics, and then mostly the enforcement also was not there, because the laws, because collections, we cannot arrest people as a civilians. And when you don't have the court that is operating to enforce these people to pay, sometimes it gives some lapses. But for next year, we are sorry, this will not be, we will work hardly to ensure that we get this targeted revenue. And then there are some obstruction along the canteens, markets. This Latikunda markets, we were understanding the canteens fee were reduced in the mid-year, before the mid-year, and then that affects the canteens. Masaya Fatu Njai was also disrupted. Most of the vendors were displaced, and then there was no revenue mostly coming from there. And then there are so many factors that affect the revenue this year, for sure. But we also next year, we will ensure that we recover everything.
Yes, the margin we've seen here on the market in terms of collection cannot be related to the situation we experience at Latikunda market. Latikunda market, the reduction made on the country levels is the newly constructed permanent structures. And the reduction on those canteens was $500 each by 51 canteens, 51 shops. That is just one by about
480,000 around that.
No, this happened just 3 months ago. It's not a full 12 months. Just 3 months ago it happened. That cannot change the entire revenue situation of the market. And that of the apartment there was no permanent structure that was demolished. It was the state, and under the state, the women were moved by the side, and they are paying their daily collection of $10 where they are seated. They are just moved from the state, sit by the side of the market, and they continue their businesses. So that's not an impact on the market. And about the elections, I think the administration is here to continue the operation of the council, even if we, the politicians, are out of the council. So, to my understanding, is it the policy makers that are intensifying the collection and we are absent, that is why collection is weak, or otherwise?
Let's have the Councillor Talinding South. Take note, Director, I don't see you writing the questions.
Okay, thank you so much. I think for me, as the chair of the Finance Committee, my own observations for 2023 revenue drop is due to certain issues. One, let's remember that in 2023 was the time of election. Even if you check the clerk office, you will realize that from January to March, committees were not sitting. Those who should do the oversight function, they were not sitting. That is one. And then two, there are some distractions between the council and then the ministry, if some of us are aware of it. And then whereby this handing over issue, the issue of the CEO, finance director, all those things were distraction. So, but if you check 2022, you will find out that there are certain key payments that were happening, like that of the NAWEC, and other key liabilities were happening. And for 2022, the mayor, the CEO, and even the committees, all of us, we were doing our oversight functioning for us to see how best to collect this amount of debt. But for that of the 2023, those things, they did not happen. So it was 2 or 3 months ago, if I'm right, that's the time the committee started taking up their full responsibilities. And then if some of you guys can remember, is it last month or so, we engaged all the revenue lands. We were engaging them and then asking them why so is not happening. And then if you check the reality on the ground, what the collectors will explain and then what the administration is explaining, there are gaps in their explanation. That's what we realized. And then currently, each of them we have been taxed. Every revenue line have been taxed for them to come with certain amount. So that's why even for next month, from October towards December, we tax all of them. So every month we want all this revenue line to bring at least the maximum, the minimum is 20 million. So, and then we will make sure and then monitor all this revenue line so that all of them bring something. Thank you.
Bhutan.
Thank you very much, Lord. I think before I come to the figures,
Sorry, if your mic is not in use, please put it off.
Yeah, I think council, we should have a I don't know which form are we going to put it. Either it will be a risk registered policy, or are we going to have an arm of council or a committee that will be responsible for minimizing corruption? The biggest challenge and the biggest risk council is having is corruption. And people at times, they don't want to talk about corruption. But corruption, I think, that's led to not meeting our target. Either one's believe it or not, that is the reality. Okay, it's a mandatory for every citizen of this country, in any form, either a business or whatsoever, should pay tax. And every day, those businesses, it's very easy to identify them unless they did not want to. Because every business here is registered. And by law of this country, if any business that did not register, then I think is violating the law. So why, if you look at for example, I will take an example to Ibo Town markets. If you can remember 2018, I and my double DC, we went for to check how markets collect their revenue. If you can remember, I think Clark is having those minutes. I do those things to General Council. We collected $3,040, 2018. $3,040 after 2018. How many businesses? Because Ibo Town is not only are not collecting only Ibo Town markets. Ibo Town markets, Marseille, Bantaba, Bantaba here at Babum Fati, and also there also a small market here, Marseille Tile, and all with all the business around those areas, they all pay their $10. If you calculate that amount to 7 days, 7 days, if you get that figure, you times it by 12, you times it by 30 days. You times that 30 days to 12 days. Sorry, 12 months. If you calculate this thing, within all the markets at Serekunda, if you can remember the interim committee, the figures they give during the market, during the other 3 months, the figures of the market is there. If you calculate all these things, council will have 96 million collected at the market. Every year, 96 million. And that is just rough calculation. And we believe that it's more than, I believe that it's more than that. So those things, last time we have a meeting, the revenue committee, we come up with a thinking of to separate revenue from finance. Yeah, because that is the best thing. We will know exactly. The revenue department will be responsible for tapping revenue. Then the finance department will be responsible for managing council's finance. You know, I think, you know, even our experts, they welcome that idea. And also, CEO, last time when we have an engagement with you, you said like the revenue, we should do a rotation to all the revenue lines. There is no rotation policy. I think, you know, our committee is responsible for that. But I think there should be a rotation policy, and also to rotate our collectors. Given excuse saying because of the election, I don't think that is a cheap excuse. Lulu excuse chunela. Because if you look, councils niti ñu ngay jaay every day. Ñu nekk di top of politics, most of them ñëpp ñu ngay def seen business. So demee tey, there are certain things business yoo xam ne dañ dee nekk di jaay even during the at night 12 o'clock 1 o'clock 2 o'clock you will see businesses are operating. And last times the markets manager wrote to our committee and said he wants staffs so that they will be collecting at night duty, but it doesn't reflect in the budget. We gave him a lot of staff. The market committee chair is here. All those things. I think, you know, let's try to be to save taxpayers' money correctly, because I can say if these things, if you look at these figures, for me honestly these figures are not realistic. I was going over it through, you know, up to yesterday, you know, at night. And I think, you know, they should separate Mbalit from partial recovery. Partial recovery and Mbalit, you should separate them. No, Sirif. Partial recovery. Every company in this municipality, they have to pay. But Mbalit collection, no. Okay. Okay. Okay, good. That's great. But I think, you know, the finance department, they have to check on their units, the revenue units, you know, because come on, I don't think that, you know, the staffs are doing enough to collect revenue. Either it should be two. Either they are collecting money and put it in their pocket, or they are not collecting business, because there are a lot of businesses here.
All right, Director of Finance, let me just come. I think we've been talking about this now for 5 years or 6 years, and since I got back from my leave, I think the chairman of the finance committee, the CEO, they all had my perspective, even the last budget session. The fact of the matter is, point and clear, without sugarcoating, if me as mayor, I am not checking the revenue, it doesn't come. That's the fact. And because I was distracted in election, fighting to return, nobody's checking. Nobody cares. Even when I came back from leave, that's when we even started ramping up again. When I have the energy, it comes. If I don't have the energy, it doesn't come. And I told somebody today this morning, he said, Mayor, go to the back, look at the state of the license office, look at the financial. Manako, I'm not going. Manako, I'm a human being. This is an institution, that's not my responsibility. I already went there with the CEO and the Director of Administration and HR. Dox naa foofu def naa too. Gars yi ñu jox seen kaddu ne nañ defar foofu defaruñ ko. Man damaa dem di 2027 I'm gone. So it cannot be a one-man show, because if that man is gone or dead, the show stops. It's an institution. Yow nga nekk administration, nga nekk CEO, nga xam ne lii baaxut. Lu tax mayor war a jóg dem wees, I will not. Yow xam nga ne baaxut, fix it. It's the same with the revenue. You know revenue have to come. We have all these structures. We have 1,400 staff. We cannot come up with oversight even within the units themselves. You are working towards a target. The fact of the matter is caring. That is the fact. Because for the first 5 years, I told him, even at the budget session, every third quarter, go and get a consultant. We will not know how much we should collect if we do not know what is collectible. Anytime nga license manager inil amount bi mu iniko. But I don't clap, because lan la wara ini I don't know. If we do not know lan mo nekk si biti naka la ñoo mëna waxé né ndax taxpayer ñi ngay comply na comply, we cannot. Every year man take a consultant. They don't do it. They say they will do it internally. They don't do it. This year I even said it again, take a consultant. 4 months back, the finance committee chair is here. Sorry, 1 month back. Kurtu kata, ñu ini G-Boss. Ñu ne G-Boss moo ko def. G-Boss came to my office and said, they cannot do it, they're engaged. Just on this last Friday, man don't blast. The fact of the matter is, nii la ñoo nekkee, ba ñun ñëpp ñu génn fi, because lu ñu war a def nekkuñ di ko def. Mooy lan, mooy ne we need an independent body pour wax ñu seen marché yi. Ñaata kios moo fa nekka, ñaata sob moo fa nekka, ñaata nit ñoo fa dee jaay si plate, dee jaay si pousse on average, ñaata nit ñoo dee jaay guddi. Based on that average and based on our rates, ñu ne la market potential bi lii la. And it should be by detail. Marché Ibo Town, lii mooy daily table, lii mooy daily sob, lii mooy lale. So yow at a management level, su fekkee ne end of month results yi ñëw nañ, marché Ibo Town any less than that, somebody must lose their job or be reprimanded. As a committee, yow tam xam nga ñaata la KMC war a am, quarterly or monthly, so review that living nga xam ne this person individual is not performing in the said zone. Let me rotate him and see ndax keneen na perform. Let me reprimand him, because lu ñu war a collect mu ngi fa du dee dem fen. Taxpayer, man taxpayer la, yen taxpayer ngeen, ku ñëwut suma kër du ma fay. It's the attitude of taxpayers worldwide. Even the most educated country, every day ñu jàppani tax evasion. But bottom line today, we have 35,000 properties. In GIS, ñëpp am nañ code. Lamin Baji from his desktop can see every compound in KMC. I think I was even talking to Councillor Bakote. Manako, since 2010, ñaata tax ñoo jóg. Even since our last term, just go from Sting Corner to Senegambia. How many multi-million-dollar buildings? Waxuma la dala si de. Multi-million-dollar buildings ñoo jóg. Dama nga seet ñaata la ñoo fay. Zero. Wara empty plot rate. So you also have to in your rates, how many people have to pay? What they have to pay? What is the valuation of their property? Ni la ñoo nekkee rek. Every living, Habib Chow, Kale Chow, ñu dellu. Next year ñu ñëwaat, this kii Chow, Kale Chow, ñu dellu. Suñ taam jee, asalaamaaleykum, bye bye. Suñ amul beneen council bu sawar, KMC deteriorate. Moo tax dëkk bi mënut a dem kanam. We need strong institutions, not mayor safa sawar de. Dokula, karab. Mayor dem, zero. This is what's happening in Gambia. The institutions are weak because we are not building our institutions. Every day, si suba, saying when he come to my office, I tell him what I wish I was CEO. Like, man, I can say it anyway. I used to say it. Every suba, I wish I was CEO. I wish I had the executive power. Small moromi mayor yuñ am. Because li munta repeat. Suba bi rek, ne, suma la waxe nga def li by Friday, defuloo ko dam la daha.